Welcome to this masterclass. Today we're going to talk about motivation and engagement, which is the topic of this class. So, as you can see in this picture, and I think you recognize this person over here, his name is Stephen Krashen, and he's an American linguist, educational researcher, and activist, and he is very well known for his theories and hypotheses. So Krashen claims that learners with high motivation, self-confidence, a good self-image, and a low level of anxiety are better equipped for success in second language acquisition. So here, in this part over here, I'm going to talk a little bit about self-confidence and good self-image. So it's important that our students have this on them. In this case, they are confident and they are motivated enough, because that is going to pretty much help them to learn the second language. So we as teachers, we should try to lower their anxiety levels in class, and that's pretty easy to say, but actually to do it, it's a bit hard, and we need to learn how to do it as teachers, or in this case, you as learners, you're going to learn a couple of tips, or what are the things that you can do to lower the anxiety among your students, especially when you're working with little kids, and in this case with children or young learners. So since we're going to talk about motivation and engagement, these two are very important in order to activate their learning process. Motivation is the most influential aspect of the learning process. But be careful, it's not that easy, as I told you guys before. It takes time, effort, and energy, especially because you're working with little kids, children. So motivation, engagement are important in order to create a space where students enjoy what they are learning and they make progress acquiring the second language. I'm going to also talk a little bit about strategies to enhance motivation and engagement. So it's important to create a positive learning environment, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in the next slide. Also, it is important to incorporate games and activities. Use authentic materials, especially nowadays that we have, in this case, a lot of things that we can use in our class, and technology that we can implement in our classes as well. Personalized learning. We have to remember that not all of our students are the same. Not all, or in this case, all the groups that we're working with have the same motivation. So in this case, we need to personalize learning in some cases. Provide a positive reinforcement. We need to create that safe space where students don't feel judged. So we need to give or provide positive reinforcement. Make them believe on themselves, and to be confident enough to participate in class. Make learning fun and interactive through practical activities. And in order to do that, we're going to talk also a little bit about the TPR method, which stands for Total Physical Response. We should also encourage collaboration and communication. So it's important to encourage our students to work not just by themselves, but also learn how to work with their classmates, with, in this case, even with their parents at home, and with the teacher, and to communicate their feelings so we can lower the anxiety levels among learners. It is also important to set clear learning goals. When you have, in this case, or when you know what you're looking for, when you know what you expect from your students and what your students expect from you, well, in that case, you're going to prepare the activities, you're going to set those learning goals. Also foster a growth mindset and use language in real-world context, which I'm going to also talk about in this class. Let's talk a little bit about positive learning environment. So as I was saying before, it's important to create that safe space. So the teacher should create a welcoming and supportive classroom atmosphere where students feel comfortable expressing themselves in English. You need to understand that it's hard for them most of the time to express what they are feeling. And it's even more harder to express what they are feeling in another language. So if they want to speak in Spanish in their class or in their native language, you should allow it, but you should encourage students to do it in English as well, in their own time. So you have to create that safe space where students feel comfortable enough to participate in class, when they are not going to feel judged by their classmates or the teacher if they make mistakes. You need to create that safe space for them. How can you create that safe space for them? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips in the next slides about some techniques and methods that you can use in your class so you can create this safe atmosphere for them. So what you can do in your classroom? In your classroom, you can use colorful decorations, engaging materials, and interactive activities to make the learning environment stimulating and inviting. So as you can see in the pictures that we have over here, there are a couple of things, objects, didactic material, concrete material that you can use in class, but not just in class, but you can also ask students to practice at home. You can motivate them to learn English or the second language at home by using these apps that I think most of you are familiar with. Among them, we have, for example, the ones that you have in the picture. We have Duolingo, we have other ones, and activities where they pretty much can listen and practice all the 4 skills in this case, which are listening, reading, speaking, and writing once they are learning. And by using technology, in this case, they can learn much better, especially nowadays that you know that technology is part of our lives. And pretty much little kids now, or children, are using these tools better than us. So we should pretty much learn from them and encourage them to use what they know or what they already know in order to learn the L2 or the second language. So you can incorporate games and activities. You can also encourage them to listen to songs in English, to watch cartoons in English, to listen to audiobooks. And in your class as a teacher, you can do activities like role plays and hands-on activities. So as you can see, these activities are going to help students to be motivated in class, to participate, to actually learn from what they like to do. So if they like to watch cartoons, well, it's a good thing. Motivate them to do it more often and to do it at home as well, but do it in the L2 so they can practice, they can learn new vocabulary, and they can practice their speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills. As previously stated, it is difficult to keep children concentrated, and of course it's hard to keep their attention for a really long time considering their age, and also we should get to know our students and what motivates them. So in order to help you deal with this problem, you can use attention grabbers. What are attention grabbers? Attention grabbers are funny and repetitive sentences, such as the ones that you have in this picture over here. So these these sentences are going to help you in the class to grab their attention, to make them to be engaged in the activity or the topic of your class, or even if they are distracted. So what they are going to do is they are going to encourage your students to pretty much be part of the activity and be part of what you are teaching. So in this picture over here, we have a couple of them that you can use it in your classes as a teacher, and also the responses that you can get from your students. So this is a very important resource, and it's I think there is a lot of more information about this one. So that's why I added a video that you can watch at home about attention grabbers and how you can use those in your class, as well as a couple of real examples in real context. So I invite you guys to please watch the video that I provided to you in this slide at home, so you can have more information about attention grabbers. Now let's talk a little bit about what's effective. So in this part over here, we're going to talk about effective teachers. I think most of us want to be effective on our task, in this case, what we are doing. We have to be effective. That means that, as I told you guys before, we are going to learn from our students. We are going to learn from the environment we're working. And in this case, what we should do as teachers is to engage and promote academic achievement, appropriate behavior, and relationship building with students and families. We know that working with children can be hard sometimes, especially according to their age. And that's something that most teachers have to deal with. But it's important to recognize what are the things that motivates them according to their age, their context, and also, in this case, what they like and don't like to do. So building relationships with the students is by far the most important thing as a teacher can do. Because without a solid foundation, a relationship built on trust and respect, no quality learning will happen. Let's talk a little bit about the TPR method, which is a method that you can use in your class. This one stands for Total Physical Response, as its name says. This one uses gestures, movements, and actions to facilitate comprehension and retention of English vocabulary and language structure. So pretty much TPR involves students to actively participate, but not just by listening, but also by doing things in class. In this case, they are going to participate not just with the teacher, but also with their classmates. They are going to pretty much use gestures, movements, and actions, which are going to help them to be active and to learn from what they are doing more than just learning from what they are listening in the class. So it's not just about teaching them grammar, but also about using the things that you have in your environment, in the classroom, the objects, as I told you guys before, the colors, the concrete material, and all those things in your benefit and the students' benefit, because they are going to learn from those things. And we have to consider, since they are little kids, they are going to be more motivated by using this type of resources than just by using the traditional resources, such as the textbook or the board, or just listening to the teacher talk and explain or give them instructions. But in this case, what they are going to do is they are going to learn by doing. So how to teach kinesthetic learners? So you can employ team-based learning activities. So as I told you guys before, it's important for students to learn how to work with their classmates, how to work in groups, not just by themselves. So they are going to learn from each other. Also, they can use objects along with the activities. They can, or in this case you can, as the teacher, incorporate details into your lessons according to their context or their real life situations. So you can also tie in various motions along with students' studies. So what are kinesthetic learning? Kinesthetic learning, the definition of this one is or refers to a learning style where a person learns best by using their senses of touch and movement. So as I was saying before, these type of learners are going to learn better by doing, by using, by moving, better than just listening or using the traditional techniques, strategies, or materials. So in this learning style, learning occurs when a person can engage in an activity that activates these senses, or if they can use all the senses but much better. So they are going to use the TPR method that we talked about in the last slide. So what I have over here also are a couple of examples of how you can pretty much, or what are the kind of things that you can do in your class in order to work with this type of students or with this method. So learning through drama or play-based learning. So this involves learning during playtime. Involves learning during playtime and is common in early childhood education. So you can use visual resources, you can use auditory resources. Of course, they can learn by listening. Remember, they can listen to songs, they can listen to music, and even the cartoons or other type of resources that you can also use in order for them to learn. And of course, kinesthetic, which in this case are the things that they can touch, they can feel. So using language in real world context, it's important. So this approach not only enhances language proficiency, but also builds confidence and cultural understanding. So it's important to teach and for them to learn the second language, but it's also important for them to feel comfortable enough to pretty much learn from their context, their reality. So that's why it's important for you as the teacher to use real life situations for them to in this case, to express themselves and to feel confident enough by using the L2. So when learners can see the direct connection between language learning and their everyday lives, their motivation and engagement soar. Which means that if a student wants to tell you something about their personal life, or a story, or something about their country, or something about the place where they are living, so let them do it and encourage them to use the L2 to do it. So that's a great way for them to learn from what they know in real life. So they are going to learn in real world contexts. Well, in order to finish up with this topic today, I'm going to ask you to please go to the EVEA platform, and in the EVEA platform you're going to find an activity which is the forum. What you have to do there after you're done watching this video, and of course you are going to have this material in the EVEA platform, you are going to answer these two questions that you have over here after reflecting on the topic motivation and engagement. So I'm going to ask you to answer these two questions according to your own experience as teachers or students, So you are going to answer to the first one, which says, how does motivation and engagement improve the learning process among learners? So you can go back to the presentation and you can use the information there, or if you have additional information, you can use it as well, and you're going to answer this one, as well as the next one, which is, what are some of the strategies to enhance motivation and engagement in the classroom? You're going to talk at least about 2 of them, please, and you're going to write the information about those. You're going to find instructions, in this case, of how to do this activity, the number of words, etc., in the VEA platform, so you can do this activity on time. So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.